Good afternoon, everyone. How are we all doing? Hope you had a nice weekend. I am still recovering from TED Talk. If you haven't already seen the photo, go and check out my post. It was an amazing experience, absolutely terrifying. But I would recommend anyone tries to push yourself. And it might not be a TED Talk for you. It might be an ultramarathon or an Ironman or something else, but absolutely go for it. It was just wonderful, and I'm absolutely shattered. And then I also had my second COVID jab, so thankfully not nearly as ill as the first one, although I do still feel a bit wonky. And yeah, it's been crazy. And also I have a moving 3D Susan now. So again, go and check out my post and you can go and see her. And I'm so excited about today's guest because we haven't had a good old chat and a catch up for ages. He has leading a double life now, running World of Procurement and doing a proper job. He's cheating on the rest of us. So Daniel Barnes is going to join me. I cannot wait to see what he's been up to and what his... and he's also been having more kids as well. So he's like, populating the world with lots more mini Daniels. So I'm going to bring him on and see what he's been up to. And we'll have a wee chat. So if you've got any questions for him, just pop them in the chat box. Hello, how are you?
Geez, I don't know what to make of the entire lip sync. Firstly, your lip syncs on it's a Sunday you still do them, isn't it?
Like Sundays, yeah.
It's weird, right? Because your lip syncs. This is LinkedIn algorithm, and this is my problem with LinkedIn at the moment. And why I've been spending a lot less time is content from people I like doesn't show up for like 5 days now. And I don't know what's going on. It's insane.
I've also found that I'm getting a lot more engagement and a lot more likes and a lot less views.
Yeah, I've noticed. I've not been posting a huge amount on LinkedIn. You touched on that. It's because I'm populating the earth with mini Daniels. That probably not so good for a sustainability perspective. So let's not talk about sustainability today. But yeah, like I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, less views, way more comments. Actually, comments have grown as opposed to likes. And I think it's good to talk about these sort of things because people call them vanity metrics.
The polls. I did one poll and got 60,000 views. That's crazy.
What?
And so people are just.
That's why everyone's doing them now.
Yeah. Everyone's doing polls because to quote some friends, LinkedIn is drunk.
Yeah.
All the wrong things seem to be getting the attention. But I have to say,
I'm not sure if I'm going to do that.
Yeah, for videos, lip sync Sundays do really well, considering it's a video.
Because they're crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Oh wait, you're doing something wrong, Daniel, because Data Whisperer said that I'm just constantly in his feed. So think yourself lucky.
It's you data people, isn't it? It's Yeah, I think that's part of it as well. Like whoever you DM and stuff, like it all plays into this grand algorithm that everyone likes to bang on about. But overall, you come full circle. I love your lip syncs when I see them, which isn't always now. They're crazy. So I wasn't expecting that at the start.
Well, now what you can do is I have the hashtag lip sync Sunday. So just click on that and you'll find all of them. And there are a lot, my friend.
I might make you a montage of them.
Let's go back to the beginning. First of all, how are you?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm drained. Like every day, I'm exhausted.
I'm not
surprised. Like my job is crazy. Like you said, I left the consultant sort of contractor sort of life. COVID scared me away. If I'm being honest, last summer it was roles disappeared that I was finding almost daily previously. And actually, funny enough, like before I went into the employed role, I had a very nice day rate role on my table to go and join Test and Trace to do some stuff with the vaccines.
No, I did. I went and did some stuff. I didn't last long.
Really?
Yeah.
For me, it was in the commercial team. I know some of the people in it. Like I've worked with them previously. Like that was kind of like bread and butter work for me. But I turned it down to go and join the software company or fintech because fintech is like the sexy area now, I would say. Like
you made the right choice.
Yeah, I would say so. Like yeah, like, and that's fairly exciting, but all consuming at the same time. Yeah, so very tired at all times. I took a bit of break from doing sort of world of procurement. And what was interesting though, I think I did one podcast in January and then didn't really do anything until last month. And the podcast still got views every single, or downloads or listens, whatever you want to call it, every single week without me doing anything. And it still grew. And like, I'm very close to hitting sort of 15,000 downloads.
That's amazing.
Probably hit that in the next week or so, depending on how much
content. You know, that never goes out of fashion.
Yeah, like some of it's good. Some of it, I've been doing a lot of tests, and I've been doing a lot of my own podcasts, because something I found out is it becomes very hard to do guest podcasts all the time. Just to fit in. People are busy. I've got a lot coming up with guest podcasts, but I've been doing some of my own stuff. Like I'm not going to throw out that I'm an expert by any means, but I'm fairly good with the whole contracts piece around.
Well, you've been posting a lot about that as well, so that seems to be your passion at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I like, and like that. My last sort of 3 roles have or gigs, whatever we want to call them, I've all been around that, and that's my sole focus where I am now, and. And I've got a couple of law degrees, so like I'm just pretending to be.
Just throw a couple of law degrees.
Yeah, so there, like I have that interest already, so I thought I would do a lot of stuff on that rather than find guests who can talk about it. Although I still will. But yeah, so the podcast started growing even whilst I wasn't doing it, so that was cool. Like I didn't have to post on LinkedIn for the podcast to grow. Like how crazy is that? So I've just been a bit quiet, and like I don't know about you. But this year, in lockdown, lockdown 3, like we're coming out of it now. I just lost any motivation for content. Like I stopped my YouTube channel, which is just like completely non-business related. Like I just haven't done anything this year. Yeah, like I just can't be bothered with it. And
well, I mean, you have got a small child.
Too many projects.
Well, you've got 3 small children, so I can understand why. But I think I've gone the opposite way. I ramped it up massively.
I've noticed, with your Wellington wearing 3D model that I've just seen. Like, I'm just querying the Wellington boots. Like, what's that about?
Why not? I don't know. They came up with it.
That's a good.
All the guys. Yeah, that's
cool.
Loads of guys keep saying, "Oh, I love your boots," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks." They're not real.
It is a cool model. All of your sort of characters are brilliant, and I've liked I've noticed. I think that you might have changed designers, developers.
I'm working with the new
ones. Look cool.
So they have offices in Eton and Dundee, so it's part made in my hometown, which is really exciting. I had to find a new agency, and I was like really terrified to just go trust anyone with that stuff, because I loved my old stuff. But this is like, next level, I guess. My business is growing, and so I'm taking it next level. And like, I mean, I'm not going to lie, for a small business, it's a lot of money, but also
I bet.
I am single. I don't have any dependents.
Yeah, geez, that's the life.
My money how I want, and why not have a 3D Susan? Who wouldn't want that? Yeah. So
it's good.
Yeah, I like to just do different stuff. I want to be different.
I think like touching on like my whole like lack of motivation for content this year, when I was looking at sort of some of the content I was putting out, I was just like, I'm not happy with this content at the moment. It's kind of one reason I started World of Procurement is because I didn't like the content that was out there, a lot of it, and it was very boring. It's very corporate. Let's call it that, which is another word for the poop emoji. And it lacks any sort of soul. It lacks any creativity. And I was like, I'm getting in the trap of trying to produce so much content that I'm just downgrading on quality and creativity and just making like the same stuff. And I didn't want to do that. Yeah. So I don't have an answer yet though as to how I'm going to get out of that. But
you'll find a moment and you'll get some inspiration. You'll be talking to someone, or you'll be doing something with the kids, and you'll be like, "Oh, that would make a great post."
Yeah, that's it. Like, so I've just not been thinking about it, if I'm being honest. And like I said, like with like other projects that I was doing, like the YouTube channel, I was doing other stuff as well. I've just like now I've stopped doing everything else, and I'm actually just focusing on water procurement. But I've even niched that down even more just to focus on the podcast. Like not worry about articles so much, not worry about other content.
Well, I think like is a really great example of you showing how you really need to kind of balance your life out more and prioritize, so that you don't completely frazzle yourself.
Yeah, I'm prone to that.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, I was just like, I can't do this. I need to take a week off. You know, it was my first one in years where I wasn't ill. You know, it was just taking some time off. And I was like, I would have had 2 weeks if it had been nice and sunny, but
yeah,
typical.
I'm with you. Taking time off is a big thing, and it's weird because now, like you said, I have a proper job. I actually have a holiday allowance. Like I don't have to work all year without stopping, or unless I choose to. And I keep forgetting that I can just take holiday now. Like it's weird, right?
Yeah,
like just forget like I can take a week out of my my allowance.
And guess what? The world didn't stop for me. It just kept on moving. You know.
Yeah. Although I come back to a lot of work if I do that, so it's not always always the most fun. But hey.
Yeah, it's fine. So we've got it comes up as LinkedIn user, but I can see it's Jenny. She's just saying everyone's feeling a bit burned out, and we've got to remember self-care.
Self-care, like that, because obviously I had my third child back at the start of March, and I was just like, I'm trying not to swear on this this LinkedIn Live. That's the hardest thing. So
I've done LinkedIn Live drunk before, so if I can get away with that, I can get away with anything. That's
impressive. Since we had the third kid, I suddenly realized like it's even harder to do like just normal stuff, like go out now. Like it's almost impossible with 3 kids. Like I'm not asking for sympathy here, by the way, because it's my own fault. But like, and I got a good investment. I did. But we got a Peloton bike recently, which is massively overpriced. But honestly, it's helping so much with like just mental health, physical health. Like I was on it this morning for 35-40 minutes. It's
all you need. I started doing some exercise in the house with weights, cardio, like it's called Fit with 2 eyes. I got it free for a month to try, but I'm like, oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
And there's some really good stretch classes, yoga, there's everything on there. So I can do cardio, I can do strength, I can do whatever.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, I mean, I've always been fairly active, but I've kind of gone into like dad bod mode now, especially with the third kid. Like we just like life shut down. So I'm just trying to get like energized again. So I'm just starting with my body first. And that's like why I just reduced content down, because I'd much rather work out for 30 minutes, an hour, go and make some good food than sit at my laptop all day. So it's one of those. I brought
Jenny's got a hula hoop. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I just think anything like that, I think it's weird because we're like stuck in our homes, and some of us have massive ones. Alex, he's my favorite actually. Coach Alex, he's destroys me most days.
Spinning was my thing. I was addicted to it. I loved it. And then I've got a tear in my plantar plate, and because it's weight bearing when you're spinning, I can't do it anymore. And I'm like, it devastated me for years. I couldn't get over the fact that I couldn't do it anymore. Because I could do it sitting down, but not the standing up bits. And I love the standing up bits.
I hate the standing up bits.
That's my favorite.
I stood up absolutely dying this morning, out of breath. I mean, I say I hate it in a good way, right? Like I absolutely love it. But yeah, I actually got a weird injury over the last week. I've like done something to like my left armpit. It sounds so awful. Just I think from just riding the Peloton bike, and it's like completely destroyed my arm. So I've been doing like sat down with one arm.
A pain in, I think it's this one. I've had a steroid injection in it twice because it's just a bit wonky.
I think it's age, right? Like I'm almost 30.
What?
Like, I mean, I know.
Oh, I'm 41 now. You can just go away. Don't even talk to me about that.
So I'm approaching my 30s. My body isn't what it was a few years ago. I now actually have to work out crazily to keep it in
10
good shape.
years. Oh my goodness. But yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, by the time you're my age, your kids will be like practically teenagers.
Yeah, that's awful. I mean, actually, it's actually really good because I'll have a life again, and that would be amazing. But yeah. So that's kind of a very long-winded way of why I've been a little bit quieter on LinkedIn and stuff. And also, I was trying to do something. I saw someone called his name's Zane, and he works with Gary Vaynerchuk. He's cool. He's on LinkedIn. You should follow him. It's Zane. Oh, I forgot his surname, like to pronounce it. It's like Gazzanini. He's really cool. Like I learned loads from him. He's a really cool guy. But I saw him do an Instagram story a little while ago saying the real flex of 2021, and it just had a screenshot of like an iPhone screen time of under 2 hours, and I was like, wow, that's so true because my screen time's through the roof. And actually for like the last month, my screen time was under 2 hours every day, and that actually means not going on LinkedIn for an hour scrolling aimlessly and liking the odd comment or posting content on it. And I actually found it way more beneficial than kind of getting into that aimless scroll on LinkedIn, which I do with TikTok, Instagram, every other platform out there. So I've just been trying to get off social quite a bit.
I managed to shut down for that week, and I was surprised at myself being able to actually not go on. But it was really
impressive.
Yeah.
You need headspace, right? Like I think you get like I don't know, LinkedIn's a funny platform. And it's not to sound, I think it comes back to like what I was saying before, like the level of content on LinkedIn is actually way poorer than a lot of other platforms. There's a lot of stuff that's just stolen from other people. There's a lot of bad screenshots of reports. It's very corporate. And I know that's
a lot of memes as well. It's like,
it's like, I don't know, it's like the other social media sites when they're in their infancy a little bit more. Like when you look at the quality on Instagram or TikTok, and TikTok is a good example to use here because people think that the quality isn't good, but the amount of work that goes into editing a 30, 15, 30, 60-second video is insane. It's probably more than editing an hour-long video to some extent to get the message across. The quality is far better on there. And I was actually getting really bored on LinkedIn in particular. Like the content just wasn't doing anything for me. And like, since I've been back, I've still not seen like amazing content in this space.
You need to chat more on LinkedIn so that I come up in your feed.
Yeah. But that would get me on LinkedIn more, you see, and that's the problem with my screen.
Yeah, someone said to me, in a message that like I make them stop scrolling my posts.
That's a good.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, good job there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stopping the scroll. That's what social media games are about.
That's that's a good thing. So I'm really interested to know, after a wee while being a freelancer, how did you find the adjustment of going back to the corporate world?
Yeah, sure. Do you know what? It's not too bad. And I think this comes down to like the culture of the business. Like, I mean, when I was looking into this role, like I went through our friends at Procurement Heads. Like Rupert, like I've got a good relationship with them. Found a good role that came up. And then I had a whole week of interviews for this role. So I had 5 interviews in 5 days with very senior people at the organization, from on the board to like the director level, head of procurement level, and a couple of other people. And it was a little bit insane. I had 2 interviews on one day that I didn't even know about until the morning of the interview. And that kind of gives you an insight into how the business works, which was good. Like that's what I want to see. So like I vetted them myself. Like it wasn't a one-way communication at that point. Like I proper vetted, like, is this a good fit? Like I'm sat on a job offer of like, I don't know, it was all right money, like £450 a day. I had one of the other big consultancies looking into giving me a role as well that was well paid as well. And I was like, is this going to be a right fit? Can I still do everything that I'm trying to do? And it looked like that was possible. But when I got into the business, it was so full on that I wasn't able to for a few months. It just took a few months to focus on the role. And that was that's the difference, right? Like when you're working for yourself, like when I was working with my little company, like I kind of just choose the hours more so, and I've got a little bit more freedom. So I've lost a little bit there. I'm actually working, I'd say, more. I'm doing harder work as well. And that's it. That's a weird thing, like because the work I was doing as a consultant was very easy and it paid well, and I could almost do it in my sleep. This work actually has me way more invested in terms of time and effort. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like I was getting pretty bored. Everything I was doing was really easy. It just wasn't that engaging. It was the same stuff every time. And like now every day is kind of same, but I probably get a few Slack messages every day that kind of throw a spanner in the works and just absolutely like honestly curveballs are what I wait for. I almost plan space in my diary now for stuff like that. And I think one thing that comes up is like office politics. Like that's one of the reasons like I jumped out of being an employee. That's one of the reasons I got out of that employment world. But actually, like I haven't found any of that at this one. I can see a LinkedIn user.
It's Michael Dell or Delly.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, I think for me, my biggest issue would be being told what to do.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. So yeah, like I'm quite used to working from like a scope of work to some extent, and it was peculiar. Obviously, we got IR35 legislation in the UK. Some of my roles were inside, which meant I was firmly under the control normally of commercial or procurement people who I felt often at times weren't doing the right thing or didn't have as much knowledge as I did. And it might sound a bit cocky because I've only been doing this 5 years. I'm fairly intelligent at a lot of this, and I've done a lot in that short space of time. And that was frustrating because I couldn't just be like, well, I'm not going to do it like that because they would just get rid of me. But for the engagements where I had a statement of work, where I was doing stuff on my, just how I wanted to, it was great. This role, like, how I think about it is I get told kind of what to do, but I also don't at the same time because I'm kind of like the only person in the company who does what I do, which is focus on the contracts. We've got a general counsel who doesn't want to do this kind of work, and that's cool. Yeah. So I'm there, and I actually manage a team of solicitors as my team. So it's an outsourced scale-up model, very scalable. Yeah. So I have a bunch of solicitors who do awesome work for us, and like I'm like the contract manager, but they're kind of like our team. So I just send them work when I can't get to it all.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so it's the first like employed role where I've been actually treated like a grown up, and nice.
That makes a difference.
And that's the same with the entire team. That it's a small team of 7 of us in total, including like the leaders, like the director and head of. It's kind of cool.
That's cool. You probably get to see more of the business as well than you would if you worked in, say, a larger organization, where you're in your corner and that's all you get to see.
Yeah, it's kind of weird for me because whereas I mostly look at the contracts, I've got the procurement managers that come to me with points of escalation around contract terms, contract negotiations. So we kind of do joke that I am locked away in a room somewhere and I don't really get to have that engagement so much, which, do you know what, I don't mind so much. Like people know who I am when I kind of only deal with the business when I actually have to. And that's a really good position. Like I'm very introverted despite like all of this social media bravado and doing things like this. But I much rather just focus on the work to some extent. And it's not like a huge company, but it is a very fast growing company. I don't know, I couldn't give you a head count, but it's probably like 400-500 people there, including some contractors. And it's all working from home, right? Anyway, so it's like this.
And actually people might not realize this as well, but I actually prefer to work on my own. I don't really like working with people.
I honestly love it. And that was that was one of the big things about this role. Like I wasn't going to be micromanaged. I wasn't going to be treated like a child. It looked really cool.
Jenny again, she's like the security, which is true.
That's a good point. Like what I used to say to people when they would ask me like, why do I do contracting, and I was like, because it pays loads of money. Like that's literally it. And the roles I was doing were really boring. Like I'm quite transparent about that. I was earning crazy money. I've taken a massive pay cut to go into permanent employment. Do I feel more secure? Like I don't, like for me, I don't treat it like I'm any more secure. I think you can get into a trap as an employee I think that if you're working in the UK civil service, like you're fine. You could be the worst employee in the world. You can do no work and they won't sack you.
Yeah.
But in a very fast growing sector like fintech or software in the UK, especially fintech, like if I don't do the work, like I'm not safe, right? And that's the same as when I'm a contractor or a consultant. If they don't like the work I'm doing, I'm going to find myself not having a role. So I don't necessarily think I'm that much more safer, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, really. Like, I mean, I get a lot of good benefits and stuff like that. Yeah, like sometimes I think it's like a false sense of security that people can get.
Yeah. You did sorry.
Yeah, no, go.
You did raise a really good point, actually, in that actually it's not all about money. It's about happiness, mental well-being, and it's that's far more important.
Yeah, so I've very much been, if I'm being honest, since 2017, I made the jump out of doing like procurement work as an employee or commercial work more broadly with 1.5 years experience, and became a contractor who was working with people who've been contracting for 15, 20, 30 years. And every time I went for a role, people would say, "Oh, you're a bit young to do this." And I'd be like, "Cool, ageism." But let's not, when it's reversed, it's fine. But very much back then, what I cared about was the money. And I was like, oh, 6-figure income, that's insane. I'm 27 with 2 years experience and I've almost got to 6 figures. Then I hit 6 figures and I loved it. And now I've come back below. And like, I do miss the money, if I'm being honest. I miss like, the income to some extent. And I'm quite open about that because money gets you things.
It gets sucked up by the kids though.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, and also at the same time, like the more money you have, if you're not disciplined, you end up spending a lot more money. And like we fell into that trap to some extent, like not not in debt or anything. Like we're very good with money, but like the money works for us now. And I'll probably be traveling into London, and that will eat up some money on rail fares and things like that. But I think long term, I think because the type of roles, like I mentioned, I was doing like commercial manager type roles, which are okay. They're okay, but I've got a lot of opportunity to grow into a very good role and go off and do way more stuff and progress in a role where I think my employed pay will catch up to my contracted pay very quickly.
Yeah,
that's the theory, right? Otherwise, I'll go back to contracting.
Yeah, I was going to say something there, and it's con. Oh, someone's. Oh, we're getting serious now. Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Jenny
again. Yeah.
I've got a roof over my head. I've got some food. I'm good. I don't need anything else.
Yeah, and
like, simple.
They did do like a survey, and more money doesn't equate to more happiness. And actually, when I went bankrupt, I suddenly realized like I didn't need all those things I was buying. Like,
this is such a good point. Like, this is so cool.
I can do my own nails. I don't need to pay someone to do them. All that stuff. Yeah.
I agree with this, and we've just been doing like a minimalism challenge in the house at the moment because we realize we have so much stuff. Like we have a big house, right? Like we bought a massive house thanks to contracting money, and that's the perks of it. Like we got our family home that we dreamed of, but we've just filled it with crap. Let's be honest. Our garage was full of crap. Each room was full of it. And we've just been getting rid of stuff. And like, I feel so much happier getting rid of so much stuff. Like I can almost feel the tension. Like
I felt the same because I moved back in February and I had like 10 years worth of shit.
Yeah, I saw your move
in my flat. And there was a picture and pretty much like a whole corner of the room was just for the dump. Like I just got rid of so much stuff. Even now, I still feel like, it's better, but I could probably be a bit more ruthless.
Yeah, I agree. Like these sort of things, I think give you. I don't know. Like I find I do my best work in very calm environments that kind of inspire me. And like I suddenly was looking around our house that we spent loads of money on. I was like, this house just doesn't inspire me at all. Yeah. And this kind of comes back to like what we were talking about at the start. That sort of self-love, like taking time to like do stuff that is enjoyable. Like, and just trying to focus on these sort of things at the moment, because I think it helps in the long term.
Yeah. Ooh, good tips from Jenny here. 12-month rule.
Yeah, it's a good one. Like, yeah.
I can't tell you how many clothes I've got in my wardrobe that I'm going to lose weight and fit into one day.
I was just the same. So I put on like crazy amounts of weight, like probably like 10 kilos in the last year, which is crazy
Well, I think you're looking really healthy.
Yeah, well, I've been doing a little bit. I've lost a bit of weight. I've lost like 3.5 kilos in the last 3 weeks, which is good.
Yeah.
But like I had clothes that I've just started binning because I'm like, I'm not going to fit into them. I've been working out a little bit more. My shoulders are a bit bigger. I'm going to have to like lose like 20 kilos to get in it. And I'm not going to do that. And they're like some of my favorite clothes. And I've literally just gone everything simple. Like I've got like 3 of these jumpers. That's all I wear now. And it works for me. So I think just
I know life would be a lot easier. Yeah, totally. Yeah. You're right. Oh, no. No Marie Kondo, because she made me throw out something that I really loved. So at the time, it didn't spark joy, so I chucked it out. And then the next year, I really wanted it, and it was gone. And I'm still gutted about my favorite jumper. I can't believe I threw it out.
That's I'm a big fan of Marie Kondo. I think she's so in preparation for doing all this, we watched some of her videos. My t-shirts are all
lined up like little folding things.
Yeah, so cool. Like I think there's a lot to it, and I think it's kind of crazy that it almost took like COVID to happen for me to start realizing more of this. Like I was talking about like simplifying my life like a couple of years ago on like Medium and a bit on YouTube and stuff like that. But like this year, like when you're like trapped, and we were trapped in our houses for so long, I was just like, this isn't working for us now. So I think just being aware of these things is I
think that's what pushed me to move after 10 years and no outdoor space. I was like, and the walls were just closing in. Now I have a much nicer working and living area. I've got my wee balcony, but I can't get out on it because it's raining every day. But hailstones today. It's crazy.
Yeah, same. I think the whole country's been hit by it. It's a weird one. But yeah, great points. Like I think, this year's been really like COVID's been really bad for so many people. For me, it's kind of been good, kind of been bad. But I think some of the stuff I've done will stick with me now going forwards, and I'll be much happier for it. And that's a good thing.
So I guess I don't know if you know, but I finished my book.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I submitted it.
Title.
Spreads between the spreadsheets, classifying and fixing dirty data.
Yeah, I see your emails that come through. Like once I haven't read the one that came through the other day yet. But yeah.
So I didn't follow your advice. I
can't remember what my advice was. Was it write every day?
To do like an hour every day. Yeah. And I did try to do that, and it just didn't work. And so I ended up doing I think I got to the end of February and had 10,000 words and had 40,000 words to do in March.
Wow.
So I literally did 25,000 words in about 2 weeks. It was crazy. I had my wrists and splints and stuff because it was just, they're still not quite right.
No, that's insane. But like, congrats. I mean,
it just all came out, and then I was just like, and then I could just type for hours. Just some days, just like
That's really cool. Like, I mean, we were talking about this because I think I messaged you when I saw you. I can't remember how we were talking about it. It came up, and I said like, oh, I was writing this really bad fiction novel because I'm like an aspiring novelist, and too many projects. So like, I put that on pause at the moment, but. Last summer, I wrote like 40,000 words in July by writing.
I remember you saying that.
An hour, like an hour a day.
And it never happened. Lots of stuff got in the way, and then I just had to clear the decks and just like focus for that month. But
wow, maybe it's the deadline. Maybe that. I think some people work to deadlines, right? And you can just do your best work without pressure.
Also, my editor had said no one ever hits their deadline, so I was like, "Oh no, that's it. I've got to hit it. Then I've got
competitive
to be that.
nature.
Yeah, totally.
That's it. So I'm just adjusting my light here because it's UK weather. Hey,
it's sunny. Yeah. No. It would have just dragged on. And the other thing is I really want to get it out because I can't tell you the number of people that I keep speaking to who have loads of problems and questions, and I could literally just give them my book and it would answer it. Yeah. So mid-September it's coming out.
Awesome. So this is cool. Like, and how I look at this is you've built a good following on social across like procurement and now data people, right? Like I think at the start you're probably more procurement, but the data crowd is like
they just kind of came on board and welcomed me in.
So you've got an audience now that you can sell something to. And I know some people might think that's awful, but like, you're not doing it for a charity. Like, you're doing it to make some money and get your brand out there. And you've built a platform through lip syncs and other good content to do so.
Yeah, so the book will be entry level, and then I'm going to try and build
your
a training
services.
course. Yeah, and then my services will be at the top end. So there should be something for everyone. And yeah, you know, I do have to make a living, so you will have to buy the book. But like, I have got like 10 years of knowledge in that book that you cannot buy anywhere else. And also, if you look online, I challenge you to find any kind of spend data classification training course, or you know, I've got a chapter on how to build a taxonomy, how to normalize. You can't find that stuff anywhere.
Yeah, I think it's a cool thing to do, and yeah, like, why not? Like it's fun to do. Hopefully it was fun to do. I imagine it was, apart from, you know, maybe at midnight when your wrists were dead from all the typing in March.
I would say I really surprised myself. Like, I've written a really good book, and I thought it would be an okay book, but I didn't. But it's actually like a great book.
That's cool.
Think. And I think that I'm right in saying that, because I've got the copy edits at the moment, and there's very few changes in it. It's more grammar. So that's good. And someone who doesn't understand it is reading it. So if they can understand it, that's really great news, because then everybody can read my book.
It's a good point. Like, it's kind of what we were talking about earlier. Like, let's make things very easy to understand in the space. Like, everything's always coming at it. Like, everyone comes at stuff from a very complex angle in procurement, data, supply chain. Let's just make it very simple. Like, we can, if we're using very complex ways to describe things or to explain things, it's probably because we don't have the understanding ourselves. So the fact that you can speak to the subject and make it, you know, very clear and articulate.
Well, it's going to be a fun book as well, though. It's going to be fun.
I imagine. Like, I mean, with a title like that for data. I mean,
but it's a grown-up serious book, but it's got lots of fun in there.
It's got personality, which is
and I was saying. Yeah, I didn't want to lose that, and they when they've edited it, they've not stripped that out, which is great.
It'd be pointless doing otherwise. It'd just be another data book.
Yeah, that's it. Who wants that? Oh, boring.
No one. But
a few people.
So happy for you.
Thanks. A few people have said when they read it, they hear my voice, which is great.
So Are you going to do an audio book?
I don't know. We haven't really spoke about that. Yeah, we should do like a marketing meeting at some point.
Oh, I love that. It's so cool.
Yeah, so so mid-September, and that's when all the kind of procurement events are going on as well. So I'll be just trying to do the rounds, plugging it as much as possible.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some real world, real people events, not these virtual events. Which I mean, I think the virtual stuff's kind of cool. Like, I'm not one to actually go to too many events. Like, I haven't in the past, and that's mostly because I didn't have enough money, because they're crazy expensive, right? Like, who's going to pay £5,000 to go to ProcureCon?
I know.
Unless your company is sponsoring it, it's a rip-off.
I know, and have you seen the exhibitor fees as well? It's crazy. Like, they do nothing to help small businesses. No. They're not interested in us.
No diversity in suppliers.
Well, you know, actually now I'm a TED talker. They'll be knocking.
Yes, I do want to talk about that.
How was it?
I saw the stage photos. It was in Woking, right? You were like, it's not too far from me, really.
Yeah, it was the McLaren. It was McLaren Thought Leadership Centre. So
I'm pretty much see that on the train to London, that centre. Yeah.
No, but get this. So it's just outside the kind of McLaren campus, so you don't get to go past the gates into the magic bit. But you park up, and then there's just this pavilion, and it's just a round pavilion, and you're like, and it says Thought Leadership Centre, and you're like, what? That's it? And then you have to go down the stairs underground to it. It's really cool.
The room looks insane, like a very circular theatre, effectively, but looks like a very classy sort of keynote speech area.
And I kind of in my head I thought I was, because of social distancing and stuff, I thought it was just going to be a room and a camera, and that was going to be it. So finding out that there's a whole stage, I was like, I'd planned my whole talk around just focusing in on the camera the whole time. So then I had to start, looking around, scanning the room. Someone was in the corner, and I could see this kind of movement going on, and it was really distracting. So it's like, I thought someone was trying to tell me to stop, but I was like, keep going, just keep
It's
talking.
a crazy hand signal in the back.
I don't know what was going on, but I was like, it was really distracting. And I did have a wee bit of a blip, but it was fine. They'll edit it out for the
YouTube videos.
YouTube eventually, maybe in 4-6 weeks or something. So
no, that's cool. Yeah, like public speaking is difficult, isn't it? Like it's not
the first time I've ever been on a stage.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah.
So if you're going to do it in style. But that would be just my advice to anyone, really. Like, just do stuff, go for it.
Yeah, like I mean, I always see, like, I don't know, I talk to people, like whether they're friends or just people I meet, and like sometimes I'll say like what I'm up to, and they're like, oh, that's a lot, and I'm like, well, I just do stuff and like see if it works. If it doesn't, I think like people have become scared to do anything, whether that's, and like I know it's scary putting yourself out there, and you get some hate sometimes. But you just laugh it off, typically, unless it's ultra offensive, then you can actually do something serious about it. But it's not so bad, really. And I think we just kind of fall into this trap.
Instagram. That was my favorite. Like, they saw my lip sync and they're like, it's not Instagram. I was like, all right.
Those people are in a bad place, though, like, aren't they? Like the fact they have to comment on those sort of things. I mean, if you don't like someone's content, like, I mean, you can't do much about it.
You can mute their posts, so yeah.
Yeah, unfollow them, unconnect with them. Like, you are the master of your ecosystem of connections on LinkedIn. Like, it's frustrating. Yeah, depending on what the algorithm puts in front of you to some extent. But that's cool. Like a TEDx, like, and TED Talks, I find like to be crazy good, and like TEDx is a really cool concept. Like, people can obviously apply to get on, can't they, with their topic, and they look at all sorts of different topics.
They set the topic.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I had to build my talk around the topic. So it could well have been something that I wouldn't have had any experience or be able to talk about.
Which was resilience.
Yeah. So say no to no. So
say no to no. That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't want to say inspirational, but like I've had to deal with a lot of shit through my life. So So but rather than choose to become a victim to it, I just get on and move on and just keep pushing to do other things. And here I am.
Yeah, from retail to spend classification data guru. Nice.
I know. Actually, from Woolies, so I shared it on Facebook.
Woolies.
And some of my old Woolies colleagues were like, "Oh, you've come a long way," and I was like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm still a pisshead." That never changed.
That shop was the best, though, right? Like, we had one in our town, and it was devastating when it went.
Pick and mix.
Oh man, that's my childhood.
Yeah.
So good. I was devastated when that went, because we pretty much had no more sweet shops in the town.
I still got stuff that I had bought when I worked there that's still like a beach towel and stuff.
It's good quality, wasn't it?
And like the kitchen stuff. Yeah.
Sounds so old, don't we, right now?
So I got taught how to good customer service, good work ethics. I learned so much in that job, and I tell you, like, people don't know how easy they have it now. Like, this was pre-online shopping. When you have queues at Christmas, people waiting 30-40 minutes to buy stuff at the till, and then they get to the till and throw it at you because they're really angry and hot and sweaty and bothered. Until you've had to deal with that day in, day out for like weeks, then don't come complaining to me about bad customers.
Yeah, well, your Amazon Prime delivery not turn out next day or something. That's kind of the state of affairs now. But yeah, no, I agree. Like, jobs like that, I think are really good. Like, I had a bunch of random retail roles, like Sports Direct, Wix.
Yeah.
Where else? I don't know, Twinings Tea. I worked as a packer of tea one summer at uni. Stuff like that. I was working nights, and like all those kind of roles were so boring. Right? They absolutely destroyed me. But like, you just learn to get on with stuff.
There was a frozen pea factory in Dundee, and a few of my friends used to do like the shifts, like literally filtering frozen peas.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, you just do what you need to do, right? And I think that's kind of the ethic I've taken forward. Like, just suck it up, really, and get on with stuff.
Yeah, I think we need a bit more of that again.
Yeah, we've become quite soft, right? Like, people are very entitled, instant gratification, overnight success. That's what, as in, people expect overnight success, but no one is an overnight success. It takes years, hours, like lifetimes to do stuff. And I think we've all just become like, oh, I did this LinkedIn post and it got 1 like. I'm never doing it again.
Yeah, I remember those days, like 1 like. I remember when I got my first 1,000 views, and I was just like, oh my God. Yeah, it's so exciting.
Yeah, it's insane. 1,000, like, how I always look at anything I do online is like, I don't know, like, the days of 1 like are gone. Like, maybe 10 likes sometimes though, but that's still 10 people liking your post, and you'll still see that hundreds of people have looked at your content, sometimes thousands. And when you sort of look at where you live, like, most of us don't always live in cities, might live in a town of 20,000 people, 100,000 people. Like, if you compare it to that, you're reaching loads of people, and it's insane to think about when you you're like I just go.
The ones that don't like and comment are like, that's where all my clients come from. They see everything I do, but they never engage.
So weird.
Yeah,
I've just had LinkedIn like DMs from people that never engaged my post, but they messaged me recently to say they've liked the podcast. I'm like, I've never seen you on my feed since we've connected, but they're listening, and I think that's crazy powerful. So like, yeah, so don't necessarily get tied up in like how many likes you get, and try stuff out and do stuff, because people are out there looking at what you're doing.
Yeah,
it's
and
really cool.
And actually, even people I'm not connected with are seeing my stuff. So quite a few times now I've connected with people, and they're like, oh, thank you so much for connecting. I've been following you through. George Furrican was someone that they were seeing my stuff through, and I was like, come connect with me, don't be shy.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, LinkedIn culture is I know, I haven't worked out this platform in that sense yet, but it's cool.
Yeah, Jenny had a job in the post office. I can only imagine what kind of
post office workers. Geez, like, they're the one kind of people that really annoy me. When I was doing I had a beard care business for a little bit, and I was going to the post office like every day before like a long day at work, and they would just be the most frustrating people I've ever dealt with. Like, they take like an hour to do the most basic stuff. I'm not saying that they're all like that, but I kind of feel like I'm going on here to say that they deserve their hate, and I feel like that's a bad message. So yeah, sorry about that, Jenny.
Maybe, well, I think it's probably environment too. I'm guessing it's probably not a particularly nice place to work, and there's probably a lot of targets and pressure. I know from like my own postie that comes round that they get a lot of pressure to do.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? You almost wouldn't expect that from that kind of environment. But if you jumped into it, I imagine it's awful. It's pretty more pressure than like people like us are in from what we do in a weird, sick way. I don't know. Yeah,
definitely have to have thick skin doing that job. So, what does the future hold for the next few months for Daniel Barnes?
Who knows? Like, this is a cool question. I always I'll give a really boring answer to it. Just the same stuff now. So I'm just gonna keep working and keep doing podcasts and being consistent.
Stability,
yeah. Like, I think I know, like, people ask this question sometimes, and the recipient of it, the question will be like, oh, well, I've got these grand plans to do all of this, and yes, like I like if I give you an honest answer about like what I would like to achieve going forwards, it'd be massive. But I think small actions are what I need to do now. So it's just focus on making podcast episodes with cool guests, and try and make some cool content around the podcast myself, and just keep doing my day job well, kind of. And getting fitter and stronger mentally and physically.
What does the future hold for the beard?
Yeah, good question. Who knows? Like, it might be off next week. It might be Gandalf in a year.
That is exciting. You won't have to put in suspense. for a little bit
Yeah,
longer.
like who knows? Like it's one of those weird things being a guy. Like you can
having
do it.
3 young kids, you probably don't want it too long because they'll just yank it.
Yeah, like they're pretty well trained now. They're like obedient dogs. Like I shouldn't say that about children, but like the 2 oldest are like they're not too bad. Like my middle child, he's quite nice. My 3-year-old might do that. The baby can't do that yet, or she might be able to. But yeah, like just but in all seriousness, just keeping things very simple now because I was doing way too much stuff, just getting like crazy burnout. And I think like if I'm being honest, like podcasts are kind of a cool business venture to look at now. Like they're very, I'm not going to say it's easy to monetize, but you can see the monetize ability. I don't know if that's a word, right? Like if I look at my podcast, like average downloads now per episode have gone up. They're like 350 downloads. It's nothing crazy, but it's not too bad. And that's like after a month, that is after 30 days, like 350 downloads. In the last 3 weeks, that's gone up. Actually, I think it might be slightly more than that. I'm just thinking, I can't remember. It's like 350 to 375, something like that.
Well, actually, as well, people might be traveling again, so they need something for their commute.
Potentially, so that'd be good because I've already got a very good core of listeners there. But when I look at other people who are monetizing in this space, and like I talk to them, and I can do very basic maths to work out their average downloads, and I think most of them that are monetizing their content probably have somewhere around 800 to 2,000 average playbacks, and they make a full-time business effectively out of that. Wow. So we're not actually that far off if I'm just consistent for the next 12 months. Getting there. And I'm not in a rush. I don't even need to monetize it. It's just cool for my own learning.
Residual income is the buzzword of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, multiple sources of income. And I actually it's really awful. I actually really want to do this, like to diversify my income stream. So not reliant on my job, not reliant on anything. That would give me a lot of freedom. I think that's a really good way to look at it.
Now, you know, that's I can't just have my services. I'll have the book and the training as well, just to cover it all off. And then I
agree. Like I've been looking at Udemy. I've got a contract management course for beginners on there. It doesn't make a lot of money. I think like this month it's made like $2, but like some months I've made 50 or 100. And if I have multiple courses, and I'm going to do a procurement one, a supply chain one, some contract stuff. I just don't have the time right now.
Yeah, do they take a huge chunk of your?
Nope. No. There's a tax exemption due to a treaty that we have with the US. So you lose a little bit, but it's really good. And I've probably, like my contract management course for beginners is probably just coming shy of $600 since September. And I do no marketing for it.
Nice.
So like it's a cool little income, and it's not a very popular subject either. Compared to like if I do a procurement one, I can imagine that would go up a lot more. And then I've got a good audience that I can sell that to if I want to. So I think, these are cool things to do.
Yeah, it's going kind of dark outside again. I think we're due for more rain.
That's exactly what I've got here. Like I'm fighting the light. I didn't have time to set up my ring light because it was in the garage and I've been in meetings all afternoon. So I've just like, this curtain is my light source, or the window is anyway. And it's just gone like pitch black. So that's fun. Trying to make myself look presentable here.
I'm so fed up of this weather.
It's not the greatest of
it's been raining for like a month now. Like there must be like every day there's been at least some rain.
I think there's nice weather ahead, like 20-degree weather coming up from Wednesday onwards, at least in my area in the UK. And we're not really, I don't think we're that far apart. Like
no.
I mean, no one is in England, right?
No, you're in Hampshire, are you? No.
Yeah, like in the heart, bang in the middle of Hampshire. So it's I'm looking forward to that. I wouldn't mind getting a bit of a tan because I'm very pasty.
God, maybe one day we could even meet for coffee.
That'd be cool. Yeah, and this kind of comes back to your question, like, what does the future hold? Like, I would love to be able to go out and record a podcast in person with someone.
Yes.
Like and like record it on a camera. Like, I mean, my camera's pretty crap because it's old now, my DSLR. But like, you can record stuff on your phone. Like, people don't realize how good tech is now.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to like go to an event and do like 10 podcasts in a day or something with people. I don't know. Like, I'm excited for the world open, or at least the UK opening up.
That's it. We can move around our little island, but that's about it.
Yeah, I'm quite happy about that. I'm not one for going off too far. I love this country.
Cuba.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Cuba.
That's just
waiting.
Sound wonderful. Just we're not with 3 children. Like life is torturous trying to go away with 3 kids,
no,
or even 1.
Yeah.
Not for me. It's not for me.
Yeah. Well, one day. Anyway, where can people find you? Find your podcast? Where?
So yeah, sure. I think LinkedIn is a good place. Like you'll see, I'm trying to put a bit more content up now because it helps with the podcast and everything. And I do like sharing stuff or getting people to share stuff with me. And then I steal everything that they're talking about and make content out of it. So it's a really good hack. Like just did a post and 116 people commented on it with advice. Now I get to go through all that, steal it all, make content out of it, and I don't have to think for myself.
Yeah.
That's a really cool way to use LinkedIn, by the way. That's a good hack there.
That's a great tip. Yeah.
And like the podcast, seriously, just type in World of Procurement, like Google, it'll come up. Number 1, It will come up on any podcast site everywhere, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever. And just hit the subscribe button on the podcast. That's literally what I want people to do. And then listen to maybe an episode. And if you hate it,
I mean, you've spoken to some amazing people.
So many, like yourself. Obviously, we've done 2 podcasts. Like you're one of the only people I've done 2 podcasts with because I try and avoid doing that.
Yeah.
We'll
do another one when the book comes out.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that. That would be cool. Definitely a good way to do it. And we might be able to link up some people there or not, because social media marketing is awful and great at the same time. But yeah, like so many good guests. Like I've got a lot of, I've started looking at like tech companies now. So I just had Erin on from Fair Market just last week.
Yeah.
The episode's not live yet. So that was cool. I'm meeting a couple more tech owners and entrepreneurs over the next week. So I've got 3 podcasts to record with them. And I think it's just a really good space. Like I get bored of podcast content at the moment or procurement content because we focus on the wrong stuff. We're still talking about cost optimization, risk reduction in terms of like around cost-based stuff.
Yeah.
And we're focusing on the wrong stuff, and we're focusing on like how people can do stuff, not leveraging technology. Like I don't care what people can do. Like I care about tech now, and like if we have good tech and good brains, as in good people, we can do so much more. And like the fair market conversation I have, the fair market conversation I had with Erin just like blew my mind away about like some of the stuff they're doing and what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And they're not the only company that can do stuff like that. There's so many now using AI, and I know people like scoff at AI. It's a real thing. It actually does benefit you. There's loads of value there.
And you just got to get your training sets right first. That's
there's so much. Yeah, you're right.
Throw rubbish at it and expect it to work.
No, definitely. So I've been looking at some stuff around contracts, AI recently. Like our current provider is hopefully going to do some stuff, and we can throw effectively contract clauses from a variety of different contracts at it, and it will eventually learn and be able to pull out that as either metadata or just metadata, and we can do various things with that data, whether it's reviewing or risk profiling in the contract. It's cool. Brilliant. Cool tech. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm exploring. If people like the sound of that, like season 2 is all about that.
Cannot wait. Be interested to hear the fair market one as well.
Yeah, and Erin is crazy cool. Like I had Madison on a little while ago, but we kind of didn't talk too much about fair market a little bit. And she's awesome. It's just a cool company.
She's doing amazing things now in diversity space.
Yeah, that's it. So it's a cool place.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much. It's been so good to catch up. I feel like I could talk to you for another hour.
I know we're awful at that.
A large family that probably needs you. So
no, I've got work again now, and
no!
As you can tell, it's actually black now out here because I can see the grain on my camera. But no, I've got lots of contracts to go look at now, so it might be a later one.
I don't want to keep you any longer from your lovely.
No worries.
So I will pop you backstage. Thanks very much. Nope. Cut him off there. So that was a great week. I can't even remember who's on next week. I'm not even sure if I planned it, to be honest, because I've been doing so many things. It's just all over the place. Thanks so much for watching. Again, as always, if you have any suggestions on people that you might like to see on and in the Data Den, then give me a shout. In the meantime, I will leave you with this, and I will see you next week.